Okay, the Rules for Games Workshop's kill team have just dropped on the Warhammer community page. Let's have a look. Right, so Kill Team is a new game that's just coming out for Warhammer. I've just released a small mini-series of focusing on all the armies that have just been coming out and releasing. And now we've just got Rules 101 for Kill Team. So, over the past week, we've been exploring the various factions that we're battling out in our new Kill Team, and we also have been exploring them, which is in that link I've just given you. So, check it out after this, please. But how does the game itself work? In this article, we're going to have a look, and I'm going to talk you through everything that I've got out of it as well. So, the Kill Team has a selection of rules, with a lot of its DNA sharing with its big brother Warhammer 40,000. The rules look quite similar, which is quite nice, just slightly different adjustments and alterations. So it's going to be quite easy to pick up, coming from Warhammer 40,000. And it's going to be quite nice to learn Warhammer 40,000 after you've learned Kill Team, if you don't play 40k. So, Warhammer 40,000 is about the grand plan sweeping, while Kill Team is about movement-to-movement action. Put simply, Warhammer 40,000 is just saying how to play. So, Kill Team 101. Kill Team is fast! A game of Kill Team lasts about half an hour to 40 minutes. Half an hour to 40 minutes to play a game. That's going to be so refreshing, because Warhammer takes about 78 hours to play a game. So, half an hour to an hour to play a game of Kill Team. Oh, amazing. Making it easy to squeeze into a lunch break or get several games across the evening. It seems quite cool. Especially that you can play with up to 4 people as well, which is something else they've been... Oh, let's get rid of that. Something else they've been saying. So, it's going to be really exciting. Also, the Kill Team board has been designed to sit on a coffee table. So you can go to a coffee shop with some of your mates if you've got the nerve and play a game of Kill Team. Which seems quite nice. Kill Team is alternating actions for shooting and combat, meaning that you won't have to wait. You have to be on the ball, and you won't have to wait long until your next turn. So we know what it's like when we play a big game of 10,000 points, and we have to wait about 2 hours until we finally get to just fight back in response. Kill Team, you move, they move, you move, they move, you shoot, they shoot, you shoot, yeah, they shoot. It seems very quick to happening, and to me this doesn't look like it's going to be the same advantage as, on the roll-off when you've got +1 to go first. First turn doesn't seem as big a deal, which is nice. There are loads of tactical depth in Kill Team with a handful of models. Every casualty hurts, and every decision matters. It looks really good. I'm so pre-ordering this. I keep left clicking. Every unit in Kill Team has a datasheet with the character keywords and special abilities, just like in Warhammer 40,000. Let's take a look at a Primaris Intercessor, shall we? Okay, so this datasheet looks very familiar, actually. We've got movement, weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength, toughness, wounds, attacks, leadership, save, and then max, which we'll look into in a sec. That is exactly the same as for a 40k datasheet. I'm not super sure about Intercessors. Do Intercessors have 2 wounds? Even if they don't, I mean, the only difference is they've just got an extra wound, and that's just so they stay on the table a bit longer. But straightforward, this is what I want. I want it to be easy to get into and easy to learn. I've just had to learn Age of Sigmar. I don't want to then learn another thing. So, weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength, toughness, wounds, attacks, leadership, save. It's great. It's all the same, which is nice. Okay, so this model is armed with a bolt rifle, bolt pistol, frag grenades, and crack grenades. It doesn't have it on this datasheet they've given us. It doesn't actually have the what the weapon strength and stuff is. That's a bit annoying. It might just be for this example. Normally, maybe you do have what all the weapons do. I really like when you get a datasheet and it gives you all the weapon skill stuff there, because then you don't have to, look away and memorize it all. Oh wow. Has weapon gear options. Here's it. So up to 2 intercessors in your Kill Team, and up to 1 intercessor. Kill Team can be. So that max basically means that's how many of those units you can take in a Kill Team. So an intercessor sergeant, you can only take one intercessor sergeant in your kill team, and two intercessor gunners, which makes sense. So that max just means how many you can take, which is fairly straightforward. That's only going to matter in actually building your list, so it's not a complete thing to memorize. So it's got their war gear options, which is standard. We're used to that. We've got and they shall know no fear, and it's saying that it's exactly the same rule. So re-rolling failed morale tests. Beautiful. There's going to be abilities which we're going to know and be ready for, because Age of Sigmar has abilities that have got the same name but different rules, which is very confusing. But these have got the same name and the same rules. So no fear can re-rolled failed nerve tests for this model, which I'm assuming is a leadership test. Auxiliary grenade launcher, there's a special ability for that. Ignore the penalty to this model's hit rolls on one flash wound it has suffered. Fair enough, so here it's just telling you characteristics. So we've got specialists there as well. Leader sergeant only, Grenadier only. So that's going to be a part of the game. You're going to have everyone's going to have their own specialist thing, which is just going to get a bit more characteristics. There we go, to your guys, which seems cool. So units have the same set of characteristics you'll find in Warhammer 40,000, with addition of limits of how many gunners, sergeants, and other you can include. Okay, so you're only allowed a certain amount of snipers or veterans. It looks like. Optional roles: most kill team data sheets allow certain models to be nominated as gunners, sergeant, fighters, all that stuff. Adjusted abilities, that's just like a no fear. New abilities, of course. Specialisms, faction keywords, and keywords. We're used to all of that already. Movement. Okay, let's get into it. I'm going to try and speak faster so we can just power through this. It's all very exciting and very new. Okay, for the sake of speed, movement and kill team is handed on a I go, you go basis after rolling off at the top of your turn. I'm assuming it's just +1 to your roll if you sit up first. I'm assuming it doesn't say anything about that. I don't think it's going to be a roll off and you go first. Players take it in turn to move all their models. So far, not unlike Warhammer 40k. So that just means you move your models and they'll move their models. There's more, however. In the movement phase, you'll also get a chance to charge. This seems really interesting and cool, and I like this. And I wish this was in 40k, because it's just quite a nice ability. You'll also get a chance to charge. I'm assuming it's going to be 2d6, or maybe 1d6. Even if you fail, you'll get to move the full charge distance you roll. I think not you'll get to, I think it's you'll have to. So say I want to declare a charge and I roll 2d6 and it's not enough to get within an inch of that model. You still have to move as much as you charged. As long as you move towards the model you were charging at in the first place. This adds an element of risk and reward. While you won't get to move and charge, you'll get to lock the foe in combat before they've had a chance to shoot at you. Nice. Rather than moving, you can opt to ready your units in the movement phase. Doing this lets you shoot them first, coming the shooting phase. Okay, so you ready your units, and if you've readied your units, they get to shoot first. That seems very tactical. Such as what you do in the movement phase affects. So the movement phase affects the rest of your turn significantly. Playing well will resolve around knowing when to ready, move, or charge your models. Movement also features loads of interesting and detailed interactions with cover and terrain. Difficult terrain can show movement. Shots gaps can be led over and kill zones to their things. Okay, so shooting and combat. So in kill team, shooting and combat phases are tense. Blah 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 blah. Shooting in kill team is much riskier. And then Warhammer 40,000. If you're looking to do some real damage, you're going to have to stay immobile and try to flank your foes. Shooting is taken from long range, which is more than half the weapon's maximum range. So, just a rapid fire, that would not be long range. If you're not within rapid fire, that'd be long range. Think of it like that. If you're not in rapid fire range, so more than half the range, you take a -1 penalty to hit, as do shots against target that are obscured. So if you're in cover, it's -1 penalty, and if you're shooting them from a while away, it's more than half your range, that's -2 to hit. So if you've got weapon skill 3, which is probably a decent weapon skill, you're then hitting them 5s. That's pretty hard. As a model is obscured if part of it is blocked by cover. Well, let's Guittari show you. So that counts as in cover. He's blocked just a tiny bit in cover. He's not wholly within cover. He's just a little bit in cover, and so that's a -1 to hit. Someone who's not in cover, like that, is not -1 to hit. So there's going to be loads of little bits just around which you're going to be able to move in and out of to get yourself in that cover, which is cool. So cover's going to be a lot more, and everyone's going to get cover. So in 40k you've got a unit. And if you've got a unit and there's just one of them's in cover, they're not all in cover. But because everyone's individual, cover's going to be just a lot more important. And it's -1 to hit instead of +1 on your wound roll. So just that -1 to hit is going to be it's going to be nice. Okay, so Warrior Not Orcs, a roll of a 6 is still always a hit. So a roll of a 6 is always a hit regardless of cover, sheath fields, ammo cloaks, whatever you have. So you'll be able to solve any differences in accuracy with the maximum amount of DACA, because orcs normally have a weapon skill of 5, so it'll probably be the same. So you're just always going to be hitting on 6s and 5s normally with orcs, which is fine. In Kill Team, death is not the end. In the range-raking top-down world of Warhammer 40,000, Battlefield Casualty can represent anything from a crippling injury being turned into vapor. But before being taken down, turns into a non-lethal flesh wounds, and models are just being taken out of action. So this seems quite interesting, and it's going to help you build a bit more, like more of a story if you want to play like a large scale of games and stuff. And it'll give you guys a bit more character. Like, yeah, he hasn't actually been taken out of action. Yeah, he's just taken so many flesh wounds and blah 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 blah. Here's how it works. When you attack, you roll to hit and to wound. Same as you would in Warhammer 40,000. You resolve the model's last. If you remove a model's last wound. Well, this is when things get tense. So this is going to be like a feel no pain. It seems like, rather than removing the model, the controlling player immediately makes an injury roll. So on a 3 or less, you've suffered a flesh wound, and can keep fighting. On a 4, you're out of action. Doesn't mean you're dead, it just means they've taken a bit too much, so they're going to be taken off the board. If a target is obscured and you subtract 1 from the roll, while if they're already injured, you can add 1 for every flesh wound they're taken. Okay, so if they're obscured and they get put down on their last wound, so as soon as someone's on their last wound, you always want to stick them in cover, because then they've got +1. So it's then on a 4 or less, you would suffer that flesh wound if you're in cover. Hopefully that's making sense. If you've already suffered a flesh wound, then you add 1 to that. So on a 2 or less, you take a flesh wound. Add 1 for every flesh wound that is suffered. Attacks damage cartridge larger than 1 will also cause multiple injuries. After all, getting hit with a las cannon. Okay, so if it does damaged 5, you'd have to try and you could take up to 5 flesh wounds, or you could get up that, and then so damage is going to be quite important. Getting shot with a snubber. Okay, so it's kind of like a feel no pain, but when you ignore the wound, you don't ignore it. It takes as flesh wound. Flesh wounds themselves further reduce the model's hit rolls. So if you've been hit by a flesh wound, I assume it's -1 to hit already. you'll be less good at aiming if you're trying to shug off a bolt around. Fair enough. As well as potentially causing them to become shaken in the morale phase. Speaking of which, morale! Okay, so models in your kill team is one of the tensest phases of the game, which is interesting because morale is normally a bit boring. Play your cards right and you can use morale to defeat an enemy without ever having to directly battle their most deadly fighters. Fail to prepare and you could end up with your own team unable to act as they've become riven with fear. Morale. Morale is split into two components, okay? The morale of a kill team is a whole individual bravery of each member of the squad. Lose more than half your squad and there's a chance your kill team will become broken. Applying penalties to hit on all your models, while models with flesh wounds risk losing their nerve and becoming shaken, preventing them from acting for a whole turn. Okay, so if they're shaken, you can't do anything with them for a whole turn. That's interesting. When building your kill team, you'll want to make sure that you grab a high leadership model to help ensure your kill team against morale, as well as some support specialists like medics. SARS, after all, having a killer kill team isn't worth it if they're all in panic. Okay, so morale is going to be very important, and it's going to do some very interesting things. So it doesn't say anything about them running away, but when they fail morale, they're going to be -1. They're going to be +1 on their hits. They're going to be hitting on 6s, or going to be hitting on +1s. And if someone has already taken a flesh wound, and they failed morale, then they can't do anything for that turn, which is pretty gross. And later in the game, as that goes, most people are going to be. Most of your men are going to have taken a flesh wound. And here's just a little interview about stopping in the studio. It's just a little video. I'll stick a link in the description of this page and on the link. I think the link's on the Warhammer Community YouTube. But yeah, so that is how to play the new kill team. It seems quite simple, a couple of little strange rules, but after 1 or 2 games, I'm sure you'll be able to pick it up fairly simple. Any questions or anything, leave a message in the comment thing down below. Any other video ideas you want me to do, stick a message. And if you found this helpful, give me a like and a subscribe. Right, see you later, guys.